Okay, so we just come into Japan's Golden Week, which is kind of like a long holiday here in Japan. Now, as a kid, I was a bit of a gamer, so I was quite happy to sit and play video games throughout the summer. It was only after I finished the games that I'd then go out and play. But as an adult and an engineer, I kind of use those mindsets to my advantage. So, for example, sitting and playing a game for a long period of time, it's kind of like tunnel vision. So, if I'm ever working on 3D CAD or any projects, I do get really focused on those projects. The negative point, though, is that you could spend all your time sitting in front of the computer, basically wasting away. So I want to encourage everyone to get out and do some exercise. So one of my favorite things to do here is to go hiking. So I've done that a couple of days ago. Today is really windy, so I've just been out for a run. I'm just going to get washed up, and then I'm going to get on some projects. Oh, sure. Okay, nice and fresh. So where were we? Back to the projects. So earlier this week, I shared this part, which I modeled and then attempted to wrap. Not very well. We need to redo that. This part didn't fit perfectly, but I did then modify these surfaces to provide a mounting for a windscreen that I modeled up. Now this windscreen is a little bit too close at the front edge. So this is the first project I was working on. I knew that I needed to modify this, one, to improve the fitment and tweak the surfaces here so I could pull this away from the stock screen. And that brought me to this part. So this is the new version. I adjusted these surfaces to tilt them at an angle away from the mini screen so it doesn't interfere. So we got a bit more clearance there. The only thing remaining is to make sure that these clips actually seat in the recessed surface. Currently I made the surface a little bit too narrow so it doesn't quite fit, but besides that it fits really well. So besides the 3D modeling, I've been working on an application so we can start analyzing our motorcycle geometry. You may have seen the Excel spreadsheets I've shared in the past. This is going to take all of that and start adding in more analysis tools. So let's take a quick look. Now this is a project I've been working on for a long time now, and it originally started in Excel and Google Sheets, and I would share those documents online. But if I find any mistakes in my calculations, the problem then is someone may have taken that document off of line and they're not going to know that there are mistakes. So I need to kind of implement some kind of control over the version that's available and what people might have. So I've decided to put this into more of an app form, and eventually this will be available to download, or it may just be available as a portal that you can log into. Now, I originally created this channel to continue learning and developing my own skills, and in doing so also try to encourage other people to try to develop other interesting skills as well. So with that in mind, this is a project to develop my programming skills. I'm not really a programmer. I have some experience with C++ and some experience with web development, but app development was something very different. So I've got about 3 or 4 different versions of this app that I've developed as I kind of practice the coding, and I've eventually come up with what we have here. So I'd like to introduce what I've come up with. First off, this logo is not a permanent fixed logo. This is just me playing around trying to figure out something that I can use. So we're on the home screen. We've got a few different tabs on the top: home, learning, motorcycle setup, geometry simulator, and analysis. I'm going to expand on this. I'm going to add in some graphs and forces and stuff like that as well, so load cases. Now on the home page we also have similar cards in the middle, so we can select learning, motorcycle setup, geometry simulator, or analysis. And then at the top right we have settings, contact, and a login button. So for settings, we want to remove my ugly bike from the background. You can come in here and you can select your own motorcycle. You can select your own wallpaper. You can also change the theme color, so that's going to go throughout, and maybe I'll put that to like a dark and light theme so that you don't always have to be looking at a black screen. Now for anyone that's new to Motorcycle Dynamics, or maybe that just wants a quick reference, I'm going to have a learning section here that I've been developing offline and I'll eventually upload. For each section I'm going to include videos that I'll probably have up here on the YouTube channel as well, but I'm going to have a technical breakdown as well as a mathematical breakdown of all these different sections. And with that you'll kind of have an understanding then of what's going on in the background when we move on to the geometry and the analysis section. So this will be kind of like the explanation supporting what my app is doing. Then we have the motorcycle setup page. Now we have the new manual setup, but I want to draw your attention to the database first. See, I thought for someone that's interested in building a custom motorcycle, it would be useful to have a database of reference geometry data, different motorcycles geometry, and then we can view those different motorcycles. Say if you know you like the handling of a certain motorcycle, maybe we can refer to that motorcycle's geometry data here and see if we can use that as like a starting point in our design. Now, from the purpose of this application, it would serve as a reference database, but also we can use it throughout the application. Now we have this randomly generated motorcycle here, but I will be attempting to populate this as much as I can with all sorts of different types of motorcycles, geometry data. Now, as a user, what you can do here is you can add new motorcycles. So if you have the data yourself, you can add new motorcycles, and then you can edit all the information in here, starting from which kind of category it is, and then I'll put a filter here as well, so you can filter it just to what you're interested in. And then of course you can type your the manufacturer's name, the model, the year, what type of suspension you might have on the rear. So rigid, we have no suspension. Direct, we have a suspension with no linkage, and then linkage, well, it speaks for itself. Then for custom, the reason why we have this is because we want to identify whether this is the stock information or not. If it's not stock information, I think we should highlight the fact that it's not stock. Then we have all the information, the geometry information, and then we can remove a line here if we want to. So this is the database and how we can interact with it. Coming back to the motorcycle setup page, we have the new manual setup. Now here we can select on the left which suspension type we have. So between the rigid frame, as I said, direct, and then linkage. Now I've got 4 different versions for linkage right now because we have all sorts of different geometry configurations for a linkage. So between Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha, Ducati, they're all going to have kind of different geometry configurations. So this is where that kind of selection is going to come in here, and I'm going to have an image over here to illustrate the differences to make sure that you're selecting the correct one. And each one is going to have different math behind it working to calculate the overall geometry changes. So let's come to rigid, since this is the most simple one, and we go to initialize. So this is where we put in our information. So let's say we're working on a custom motorcycle, and it's a Honda, and let's say it's a Rebel. I'll just put 2020. And then it's we'll say it's a custom. We then put in our chassis information. So at the moment, because it's a rigid frame, we only really have the wheelbase to consider. We don't have the swing arm pivot or swing arm length to worry about. And then we separate that from our front end data. So the rake angle, as we know, should be the steepness, or the angle at which the steering axis is related to the vertical axis. Fork length, this is of course the fork length, which is going to be reduced as it compresses. Then we have the triple clamp offset. This is the offset between the fork and the headstock here. And then we have the fork height. This is going to be, say, if you want to drop your forks or drop the triple clamps on your forks to be a bit lower, so you actually have the forks protrude more from the top, it's going to act to essentially as if it's more travel. That's how it's going to respond in this simulator. Now when you get to this point, you might want to save it, and that's going to put it back in our database. So you have it here. We just need to select that, and then we can go to the simulator, or you could just go straight to the simulator from the motorcycle setup page if you want to just click here once you've finished your information. Let's go back there. Now from the simulator page, you'll see currently I have a whole bunch of information in these tables. This was just to confirm my calculations are correct, and it's outputting the correct information. On this page, I'm going to have a few different variables that we can enter. One of those being the fork travel. This is the main one for a rigid frame because it's really the only variable that we're going to have. We don't want to just see what happens as the fork compresses. We want to see what happens when we make various adjustments. For example, the fork offset, or introducing an offset to the rake angle. And then we can see how that's going to affect our rake trail and wheelbase overall. So I'm showing this now because I've just finished building the geometry calculation for the rigid frame. I mean, moving on kind of quickly to get the directly mounted frame and at least the first linkage frame. The analysis page is on hold until all those are done because I need to develop in the background what we're going to be analyzing and how we're going to compare them, and then figure out how to build that in the application. Now, just to try and illustrate how complex this can get, just want to give you a quick example. So this is our motorcycle traveling in this direction, and we're going to hit a bump, and that bump is not on the ground plane. It's going to be slightly raised above. That's why it's a bump. It's going to hit somewhere around here on our wheel. Now, our wheel is traveling this direction, so actually the force is kind of going backwards. But because we're hitting a wheel, we're also creating a kind of vertical force. But we're not really looking at how the vertical force is acting on the motorcycle or how the rearward force is acting on the motorcycle. We're looking at how the force is being translated through the frame, through the fork. So we're going to get a force at this angle. So looking at the angle of the fork, we calculate the amount of forces coming through depending on where the bump is actually occurring on the wheel. Now the amount of force is going to act to compress the spring, because for spring compression we're looking at how many newtons or how many millimeters per newton of force. So the more force, the more compression we get. But as we compress the spring, we'll also see the rake angle is reducing. It's becoming steeper and steeper, meaning that actually the force through the fork itself is changing. Now what you can also do is we can take that frame and we can say let's put the rake right up to 40. So now we have more of a cruiser style, and we still have this compression, but the direction of the force is actually more in line with the fork now. So you're going to see more force going through that front fork, which might make it feel softer, assuming we have the same stiffness in the springs. The difference then is actually what's happening at the top end. Like this is one of the critical points really. If all the force is going through and being absorbed by the spring, that's the ideal. Going back to the previous example, if the force is mostly really going rearwards or horizontally, this is where we get more torsion in the headstock or the triple clamps. So looking at our rake angle, we can start to understand whether we're going to see whether we're going to induce more force, more torque into our frame, our headstock. So when determining our geometry, we're not just looking at rake angle for the handling aspect. We also do need to consider the forces that it's going to be transposed through the motorcycle. With a steeper rake angle, we're going to be introducing more torsional forces in the headstock, and those forces are also going to go into the triple clamps. For the motorcycle with much greater rake angle, you're going to have more force going through the fork itself and less really into the headstock. Now this can get really complicated, so I'm going to leave those more deep dive explanations for another video. So I just wanted to share a progress update on this application because it's been a little while and it's not really been my primary focus, because it takes a lot of time for me to build this, and it's not really something that I can make as content for the YouTube channel. So I just wanted to share a progress update on where this application is and what I'm doing with the geometry calculation tools. Now it's been a little while since I've shared an update on that, and the reason is that it really takes a lot of time away from what I can put into building other content for the YouTube channel, and this channel is still not monetized. In order to improve that, I need to work on more content and better content, and this really just takes
a lot of that time away, and I don't have a lot of time free to work on this kind of content because I have this little man. And in 2 to 3 months' time, I'm going to have my second child. My second child is going to be born, which means I'm going to have to be more selective over my time. So if you let me know in the comment section which kind of content it is that you're most interested in, that just lets me know what content to prioritize for the growth of this channel. And I really appreciate that. Anyway, just want to say again, thank you very much to everyone that's watching, and I'll see you next time. You can bye bye って言って。
バイバイ。
バイバイ。バイバイ。
バイバイ。難しい。
もう一回ここに。バイバイ。
バイバイ。
OK。ありがとう。